Yo, Hendel here with Average Dude Softball. Today we're doing something just a little bit different. We decided to go ahead and bring out the bats that we have currently rated as our top 3 on our USSSA list. We wanted to go ahead and do a little bit of a bat showdown between the 3 of them, get you some models that all start new in wrapper, and then kind of go from there and see where they all end up. So Genesis, Ironman 2.0 with that new tech. We've got the DeMarini standard issue, and then the Proton Neon Series 2, the one piece. Went ahead, got all these 0 swings. You'll see that here in a second. We do the initial compression test. They're actually all starting pretty much the same compression, plus or minus 5 to 10 PSI, so pretty darn close. We're gonna go ahead and put exactly 40 swings on each one at the field. Then we're gonna come back here. They're each gonna get, we haven't really decided yet, but somewhere between 5 and 10 velo swings. We'll give them each the same amount. And then once that's done, we're gonna go ahead and do a final compression test, see where they ended up, and kind of see if, hey, does our top 3 list still make sense? Do we wanna move it at all? Now that we've got them all kind of side by side. To do this, we're gonna go ahead and take them out to Donana, New Mexico, at the baseball field out there. Dimensions are here on the screen. We'll also have 2 orange cones set up out there. If you can see them on the video, great. If not, it's honestly a little bit more just for reference for us. So we have those measured out at 300 feet out there in left and left center, just so we can get an idea of how these bats are playing out on a traditional softball field, so that we're not just reliant on balls going over the fence at the actual baseball field as well. So we'll do our best to differentiate that by putting distances, things like that, estimate distances up on the screen as well. If you like this video and you want to pick up any of these bats, just let us know. We've got different ways to get each one. For the Genesis, any Louisville's, DeMarini, you can head down in the description. We've got the Headbanger Sports link down there. If you use that and use code ADS at checkout, you'll be able to grab any of these for free shipping, discounted price, or just reach out to us either in the comments, over on Facebook, or at averagedudesoftball.com. We have a contact us page, and we can help place the order for you, get you discounts, all that kind of fun stuff. As far as for the Proton goes, for that one, you're just gonna head over to Proton Softball, and at their webpage, you'll use ADS35 at checkout, and that'll actually get you a discount on the Protons as well. Pretty much, I think it's about $70 off at checkout as well. And actually, I misspoke, it's discount code ADS for Proton. The link's also down there in the description as well. So if you need any help with that, just head down there, or again, contact us, we'll get you squared away. So let's get these out to the field, see how they compare, come back and do a little test and get you our final thoughts. All right, before we start the swing off of our top 3 bats, we're gonna go ahead and just see where the starting compression is on all of them. These are all brand new bats, straight out of the wrapper. First up, we got our number 1 bat, the Louisville Slugger Genesis. This is the new Ironman. And it's sitting just under 275. So a good starting point. Let's see where that puts us in comparison to the rest. Our number 2 bat, Proton. This is a 1-piece Neon Series 2. 0 swings, straight out of the box. And just under 275. So far we've got the Proton and the Louisville at the exact same spot. Perfect for this. And lastly, we're gonna go with, for the DeMarini, we're using the DeMarini standard issue, our personal favorite of the line, different DeMarini lines. And that one's gonna give us a little over 275. So honestly, pretty close for all 3 of them. Let's go and get some field swings on them, see how they all compare. Then we'll get it back to the garage and do a velo test. Off again, and it's still reached 220. there's the standard issue I love.
Miles per hour. 102 miles per hour. 101 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour. 98 miles per hour. 101 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour. 101 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour. 105 miles per hour.
All right, now that we're velo test complete with our 3 bats, let's go ahead and see where they're at. Compression-wise, each bat is pretty much just sitting at about 50 swings. We want to put the same amount of each of them to kind of get that fair shake. First, we got the Ironman sitting at 0. And that one's sitting a little over 250. So it did come down a little bit from just below 275, but we're sitting at about 255 at this point. And let's see where that compares with the rest of them, and that'll kind of put our velo test into perspective for us. Next up, the Proton Neon Series 2. Also, again, about 50 swings in. Let it set. And that one's also sitting just over 250. So we've pretty much got the Ironman and the Proton sitting about the same. And now for our standard issue. Let it set to 0. Now one's sitting about 255. So they're all pretty much exactly the same. Just to be safe, let's go ahead and throw each of them on there one more time. Make sure we didn't get a bad reading with any of them. We'll even do the opposite side of what we just did for each bat. Just want to make sure we're giving you guys the best info possible. Again, Ironman, yep, 250. Proton. There it is at 0. On this side, it's closer to 275. Let me just flip it around and make sure we didn't get a bad reading on the other side the first time. Okay, so the Proton's still closer to about 270, so it's a little bit higher than the other ones. And then again, lastly, the standard issue. And 270, 265. So they're all still pretty close to each other. Ironman's the lowest one. We'll talk about it a little more in the final thoughts. All right, and we're back from the field with, again, our USSSA top 3 bats. Again, we've got the Ironman 2.0 with the new tech. We got a Proton Neon Series 2 one-piece, and we've got the Dean Marini standard issue. Again, we went ahead, threw approximately 40 swings, or right at 40 swings on each of the 3 bats, brought them back here. We gave each of them 7 velo swings just to see what we could get with them, kind of to measure the consistency piece, all that kind of stuff as well. And then went ahead, like we said, and did that final compression test for you, which was kind of nice to see. Standard issue, still sitting right there at about 265, so it's still got wiggle room. The Genesis did what we've been seeing with the new tech, came down just above 250. Honestly, it should sit there for a while based on what we saw with the Miami Lights is what Headbangers are calling that one. And then for the Proton, it's still sitting pretty close to 275, sorry, which is kind of what we expected. The gamer version of this that we have of ours has 500 swings on it. It didn't really come down to that 250 compression until around the 200 to 300 swing mark. So we kind of knew that was gonna most likely occur. Nice to see that kind of they all holding in that same general area. But again, finishing compression there on the Proton about 275. So all in all, with the Ironman 2.0, big thing on this one to note is on the 13-inch barrel, the new tech, it starts out insanely hot. It's not quite as pingy on the sweet spot. It is still a little pingy though towards the ends of the bat. However, of the three, this is probably the most forgiving bat. It felt like no matter where you hit the ball was jumping off pretty well, easy to get out that 300-foot range. Hit a couple off that fence, and I think 1 or 2 over the fence out there as well at the baseball field. The sweet spot on it may not be the hottest of the three. I'd probably put this third out of the three for the no kidding how it jumps off the sweet spot. But again, the entire barrel's forgiving. As you saw with the velo test, it's still reaching triple digits, so that sweet spot is still gonna give you great exit velocity. But it's nice to know that, hey, I can miss and that ball's still gonna come off pretty hot. I think 98, 99 is what we were seeing there as well. And as you saw there with the velo test, we had the averages up there and the Genesis is right there. They're all pretty darn close to one another. So again, I haven't seen any durability issues with any of these new tech bats. We put, again, in almost 500 swings on our Miami Lights bat, the HB exclusive. And now we've got this one that has about 50, and on our other Ironman Genesis, we put about 200. So between the three bats, no sort of durability issues. So something good to note there from people who weren't really a fan of that in the past. Up next, we had the Proton Neon Series 2. For this one, again, we've put a lot of swings on our gamer version of the Series 2. We want to see how this compared from the start. And I'll say of the three of them, this probably had the biggest curve to kind of getting comfortable with it. The sweet spot isn't the largest to start, which makes sense at that 275 mark, but you 100% could take it out and game it. The sweet spot's still pretty big. If you want to see a full video on it, obviously we have one posted a little ways back. You can check that out. But even with that being said, when you catch the sweet spot, the ball absolutely flies. I would put this second out of the three on how hot the sweet spot is currently. And then really once it breaks in and gets similar to how our gamer is, it's gonna be pretty darn close to being that number one as far as sweet spot goes. So we saw with the velo test, and it's probably because the compression is still sitting right there at that 270 range, but it was the least consistent of the three as far as what our averages came out to. Still able to get to triple digits. Again, the sweet spot feels great, but until you really break this in, it's not gonna be overly forgiving. And then unless you're a one-piece fan, you're gonna feel it on your hands too at times if you catch it in the wrong spot. Not that it hurts terribly bad, but obviously it's gonna feel different than some of those two-piece bats as well. But again, still highly recommend the Proton bats. I love my gamer. This one feels great. Just make sure you give it the swings to get it down to that 250 compression. And then honestly, the bat that of the three overall, I'm probably pretty close to liking the most, the standard issue. My absolute only issue with it is I'm not a huge fan of the real long barrels, and this is a 13.5-inch barrel. But demarine with that stiffer handle, the APC technology did an outstanding job with this bat. As you saw at the field swings, the ball was absolutely flying off. We had a one-line drive out there. I think we put it on tape. Hopefully it's on there. That was about 390 line drive straight off that fence, and we we marked it on there. But I mean, the ball absolutely jumps off of this thing. Sweet spot is probably the hottest of the three to start for sure. And then of all of them, not quite as forgiving as Louisville, but I mean, it's pretty darn close. And then as you saw at the velo test, this thing got up to 105. Every single ball was triple digits except for one that I think I missed a little lower on the barrel. That one was right, I think it was 98, 99. So again, you're gonna get almost the most consistency out of this one. And again, this is the bat that I'm currently gaming as well. So I have a 26.5 standard issue, that is my gamer. And just behind that, I've got a new Tech Genesis and my Proton Neon Series 2 as well. So the bats that we put on our list are the same ones that I'm swinging kind of in my top bats as well. There's definitely a lot of bats out there that are all right up there competing with one another now. It's a lot of personal preference. But after getting a chance to swing all three of these and kind of see what they're all about, for us, we're still gonna leave the Louisville number one for now. It's pretty darn close, but with how forgiving it is, I think it makes it the most universal of all of them for anyone to be able to pick that up, use it, not have any issues. Also don't have to do any BPs. I know not everyone has the ability to go just BP all the time. And then the big change for us is we're actually gonna go ahead and move the demarine line to number 2 and drop that Proton at number 3. Again, not a huge margin, but just with how hot the sweet spot was in the demarine, the fact that it was the number 1 in the velo test, I think it makes sense to move that one up to number 2. And then the Proton still again sitting right there at number 3 as well, along with the rest of the list, which I'll post here at the end of the video as well. But it was nice to be able to get all three of these out there, swing those kind of side by side. I know we talked highly of all three of them on their own videos, so we just kind of wanted to throw a mashup together so you could see that. Again, if you want to pick any of those bats up, just head over to headbangersports.com, use ADS at checkout, and that'll get you a discount on the demarines, the Louisvilles, anything else you see there. Or you can head over to Proton Softball, their webpage, and use code ADS, and you'll get a $70 discount off of whatever Proton you pick from their page. Or if you want any of their additional gear, you can go ahead and use that as well, and it'll give you a discount for that one. If you just need help, advice, questions, or you want help placing the order, discounts aren't working, anything like that, either drop us a comment, come over to Facebook and leave us a message, or probably the easiest way, averagedudesoftball.com. We've got a contact us page. You can simply text us there. We've got a business phone that allows text messaging, and from there we'll be able to get back to you pretty quick. It forwards straight to my personal cell, so I'm able to get back to you pretty quickly there as well. So if you ever need any help with anything, just let us know. We're always more than happy just to chat about softball, give advice on what we think are best bats. Again, remember that this is all kind of personal preference. This is just what we find of all the bats we've swung to be kind of our favorites, the top bats, but there's tons of good bats out there, so don't be afraid to ask. Talk to your fellow friends, see what they've got for you to swing as well. And again, we appreciate you checking out the video, so have a great day.